What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning into tonight's live stream. Wanted to cover one of the latest indicators we've developed. We call this the Phantom script. And just to see, why it's called the Phantom script, it's because it's going to identify some key levels of support and resistance. And so it's going to identify some key levels of support and resistance that are otherwise not found on the chart. Here we can see on the chart on the left, BTC, this is XBTUSD, where we've got these bounces off hidden supports, right? So the script's going to give us signals off these hidden levels, which are pretty much phantom levels. That's why it's calling it phantom script. Just like this short over here. This was a short signal. These are some buy signals. Those are gonna be clear cut, right? So the red triangles are short signals, and where one wants to hedge short, and the green triangles are buy signals, or one wants to look for a long entry. I'll dive into pretty much like how to take the signals and how to get the really good entry and not get stopped out. We've been using this strategy for hedging quite a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and go into these settings, and you're gonna get the inner rejection. I'm just gonna make these a lot thicker so you guys can see them better on the stream. And so these inner rejection zones, right? Ideally, what one wants to do is hedge a short or take a short whenever we get a short signal, and take a long when we get a long signal. And in the mid range, right? These midlines, what they do is they identify whether this rally should continue or not. And as long as we're getting closes below the midline, this would be like a take profit on this current long or add to this short. And here we see this happen again, right? So this is the Bitcoin 30-minute chart. We had a clear, strong sell signal here, countered by a buy signal. The midline rejection should mean either increase short or take profit on the long. Taking profit off that long, right? Somebody remained short. We get another buy signal, so pretty much hedge another long. Rejection here once again, rejection off the second midline, so probably want to take profit on that long and write it back down. Here we see another 3 hits for an accumulation on a long. Cleared through, right? Closed above our midline, closed above our second midline, came back down, did this chop noise, right? So when the chart starts getting choppy on your time frame, when you're not getting these top resistance hits, we're not getting rejection off the top line, that's when we either want to increase time frame or go into a smaller time frame. And here, if we go into the 15, those are the 3 buy signals down here. The script's saying hedge short, right? But it's not quite at the top. So if you go into like the 5-minute, that's when we start gonna get some more rejections, right? So here it cleared it. Once we get closes above the sell signal, like here, it invalidates the signal. It becomes a weaker signal. So if it's closing above this line, that means it's too soon to hedge, too soon to short. Once it starts rejecting below it, right? So here we had an attempt to close above, and then the next 2 closes were below. So this would be a good time to take a hedge. And this would be a good time to take a hedge. Even if one wanted to pretty much scalp this chart off this indicator, they can do so, right? So with a buy and a sell, a buy and a sell, buy, and here you're pretty much underwater. But what's key, the reason we added the midlines, right? The reason we added the midlines is going to let us know, and here we're going to expect another drop because we're closing below the midline. Up until the chart starts closing above this midline, then we want to see an upwards move. But if we're closing below the midline, means we're likely going to come down and retest the zone. Now back to these buy signals, right? This chart's giving us a buy signal, and usually the buy signal is going to get wrong once, twice, sometimes 3 times, like we did back here. So once we get that first buy signal pop up, it's coming up on this candle, but this is pretty much your wick low. And if one wants a really good sniper type of entry, they kind of want to set their bids in the zone, right, towards the end of the wick, because the next time the chart retests, this buy zone should bounce back up and continue, or they can wait for price action to come down into the buy zone, and on the way back out, take that long entry. Same thing over here. right, where we had a long entry on this wick, and then another one. So if somebody misses it, you can kind of wait it out, right? We got rejection, so we hit the next buy signal, and here we got 1, 2, 3 wicks. So if somebody did what I suggested on that from that first wick, right, put their buy signals down here. The key is being patient, right? Especially with the script, it's going to tell you where the buy signal is, and being patient and picking it up instead of buying here, getting FOMO'd out, and then getting stopped out because it went below this wick. If that's where your stop is, right, you want to be patient. So this would be the essential buy zone off this wick, and those bids would fill. And if somebody put their stop below this last wick, right, they're still in this long. Going back, if you go to the hourly chart, right, so the longer time frame charts are going to give us better indication. So here on this move up, right, which is kind of like a bear flag, there's quite a bit of hopium here, right? But if somebody was trading the script, and what's great about the script, it's forward thinking, so it's gonna print your levels before price even gets there, right? So on the way up, this line was already there, right? It's not like repainted. So here, as this chart goes up, and we notice that we're getting a failure to close, and here we're getting close to it again. Like this would be a key area to take a short, right? Because it's closing below with a tight stop, and that would have put somebody in a really nice short trade. Closed above, and here kind of gotten chopped out, but there was still no buy signals. If you're just trading the hourly chart, you would have shorted 10.8, 10.9, which is a short that we took down to 94. The line's at 95, down to 95.50, long 95.50, to 101. If somebody's just trading the hourly. More interestingly, right, if somebody wants to like day trade, if you're looking at the hourly chart, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range trades here where the chart identified, right? So range is 3 touches. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a few of these, right? Long here, short there. Various ways to play this. All right. What's even cooler, right? What's even cooler if you look at like XRP ETH. I think I had this on the 30-minute. Right. So if you're ETH heavy, which I was, and once we long XRP a few days ago, 5-6 days ago, on spot, right? I bought it with Ether, and it rallied on Ether. And next thing you know, we had a really strong sell signal here, and the chart pretty much went up to the sell side, right? And it did this, I'm not going to call it a rising wedge, it's a little bit of a rising wedge, right? Especially on the ETH chart. And then it took a wild turn. If this was a margin trade, right, and somebody took a long here, or based on this zone, on this pullback, okay, maybe I want to long this, long it up to the rejection zone, and you get a turn and it's coming back down. This works on a lot more assets than just USD, BTC, right? So on Ether, once we took our long down here for an inverse head and shoulders. Our target 1 was down here. Target 2 was at 202. Target 3 was at 218. And ETH, this is Bitfinex, but ETHUSD Coinbase actually hit our target, right, which was like right on the money. What was the high there? 217.59. So almost hit it. But this is what's awesome about this script, right? So now here we might enter a range, right? Or we might get a pullback to our midline for a return ascender to send it back up. I mean that's one you want to lose, like RSI. You want to look at chart formations. You want to look at other things and just use our Phantom script on its own. I'm a big fan of the RSI, so I tend to combine both of these together to get the most accurate signals. Looking at like ETHUSD, the 4-hour previously, right? It was a short signal at 309, right? Some people would have bought this, you know, the bull trap, 319, right? And then you see that rejection, clear rejection. So one needs to be short, even on this break. If they FOMO short on this break, they did fairly well. And here we're gonna have some signals that don't play out, right? It's not foolproof, but it's gonna give some really good indications. This is a pretty good short signal. This would have been a really good long at 174 for the continuation. I had a lot of questions about, hey, you know, what's going on here? We're getting a lot of closes above. We're getting short signals, but we're getting closes above. As long as closes are above the top boundary, that's when one wants to remain long, or maybe like take a hedge out with a stop above the last wick high and let the chart do its thing, especially if one long like 174 zone. That would have been a fairly good play. Interestingly, today the S&P futures, they did, it's kind of like a knife, right? And this works on so many assets, right? So here we had buy signals at 26.3 or 29.63. A nice short signal here, another long, right, up to rejection zone. These would have been good profit takes. Kind of a fake out, came down, perfect execution for a buy or for a long, and moved back up. And what's interesting is this works on so many time frames, right, and so many assets, especially when they start getting choppy. You're gonna be able to get some really nice gifted entries. For tops, for bottoms, even whenever we start seeing a chart consolidate above the midline, right? So these consolidations above the midline would be a good point to add or remain bullish. And here, right here was some buy signal above the midline, right? And then the lower boundary moved up, so that's fairly bullish. And now we're consolidating above the midline, so we could essentially see a move up to 308, which would be the S&P price. Right, fam. I've covered signals, the long signals, the short signals, what the midlines do. I'd like for you guys to give me some assets for us to look at, right? I was doing a workshop yesterday, and someone was like, how does this work on copper? And we had never actually charted it on copper. And I gave some, a bad buy signal, but then a really good short, a really good long, some more good longs for the swing up, and now it's kind of coming back down for a good short. And this strategy works fairly well, guys. And here we see almost like a head and shoulders, right? Kind of like what we're seeing on ETH. A really good long entry. What we're seeing here on ETH, somewhat of a head and shoulders that was actually bullish for an upwards continuation. So seeing that bounce here, it's like, was this a head and shoulders, just bullish continuation? At least one would have hedged the long against the short if they were net short. Once again, you got good buy signal, maybe profit take here, another good long signal, build a short, comes down, take a long. Maybe here on this close, one would only use closes below, one would start profit taking that long. It's going to give us a lot of sustainable entries and a lot of sustainable exits, right? Here's some bad sells, but as prices closing above, one wants to leave that alone. So they got stopped out of that trade, just need to stay out of that trade. Another reason this is really good for hedging, if one longed here and shorted the top and they just had stops on them and they let the long run, right, until they get the next short signal, that would have been a really good gain. And the same thing here on the short, down to this long. Maybe here one would get chopped out on this last rejection, get a short for another long, for another profit take. So it's not the most perfect strategy, but it works really well, considering, especially when markets get choppy. It's going to give us really good entries and really good exits. You guys show me a chart to look at, and we'll pop her up. I'm going to look at XRP USD. There's a lot of talk about Ripple right now. Right, so Ripple USD rejected off 31 cents. And based on that rejection, it's going to pull back down to like the 28-cent range. And that's where we want to see it find support. And it might range in between these two, or it might just, neck all the way down. But based on, let's do like this is the 4-hour, what's going on the hourly chart. So hourly chart, right, it closed above. It did these bullish rejections here, right? So at this point, someone say, hey, like it's rejecting up, RSI is up. It's maybe looking for a breakout. Take this breakout trade here, all the way up, and that's when you want to go up in time frames, trying to see what's going on. So the 120 is not giving us a sell. The 360 gives us a possible top. All right. If we were to go to XRP BTC, once again, I tried closing up here somewhat of a doji, like a spindle top, and now it's coming back down. Hope if Ripple can get a close above 28.74, then we might see a range develop. If not, then I think it's going to come back down, knock out a lower low, capitulate everybody in this breakout, just crush everyone's hopes, and continue back up. That's what just Ripple does. I've said this time and time again. And here you got this bearish divergence on RSI. And that's why I like to pair this with RSI, right? Yeah. Under crowd, best time frames. I've seen anything from the hourly, right, to the 120 works really well. The 30-minute and the 15 will work good in between, in the middle of breakouts, like on a 5-minute chart. If somebody was just trading the 5-minute, these wouldn't be valid because it's still closing above. Here on this, this is a head and shoulders here, right? And it's closed below. One would take a short and maybe like wait it out, see what happens here on this swing low. What's going on, Fred? You guys on altcoins right now. Let's look at Raven. This is Raven on the 5, right? Let's go to maybe like the hourly chart, right? Once again, really good long here. If this was like T1, close below or take a short. You can't really take a short on Raven. What's XBT doing? Everything's dumping. Okay, it's going sideways. So Raven looks very much like Ripple right now. Anyways, so this would have been a short signal, and the close above the rejection zone, this bullish engulfing candle should be taken as a bullish signal. So if one had a T1 here and then they see this drop, show your stop to like this last swing low or below it, comes down, then we get the secondary breakout. It's out of the hourly chart. So what does the 120 do? It doesn't give us a sell signal. The 240 did, right? It's arranged here, and now it's actually closing below. So this current all season, I don't know what's going to come out of it, but if you're using this indicator, you're going to get some fairly good exits, especially right now, or at least areas of interest, right? So back to like XRP BTC, if somebody wanted to like short this breakout, we had a short entry here that got stopped out, and so the second short entry showed itself on the 720 or the 360, the larger time frames. Hello, Adam. You guys, show me some altcoins. Let's see what altcoins do on this script. All right. We didn't just build this for BTC. We built this for several assets, right? So this, you'd get a pretty good long signal here after this first leg, close it above, range trade, right? Maybe get out over here and forget about it for a while. It's just the nature of Ripple. And then once we start getting these rejections, this secondary breakout, this pop, right? Like this bull trap. This is a prime short area, just like what we had on BTC on the hourly. And one could have written these futures down from 76 down to 22. Oh my God, that would have been such a good short, right? How big of a short was that? It's like 64%, man. You do that on 2x or 3x, that's free money. Hey, Delilah, I will look at them. No, we'll look at everything. We're pretty much, I'm just showcasing our new script. And if you guys want access to the scripts in the video description, you should be able to get test access if you leave us a comment there. Going over like VET, BTC, Binance. I'm not doing, this isn't a power hour, right? We're just going to see what these tokens are doing according to the script, if they're tradable on our script. So I signaled VET up in this range at like 41 based on this interaction. Something like this, right? I mean, you're gonna get good scalps, like a buy at 52. It's not trending yet, right? So a buy at like 52, a sell at 62. This would get stopped out. You can't really short this asset. It's trading very narrow. Let's go to like the 120. Let's try to get some bullish targets out of this chart. It's not looking good on the 120, maybe the 4 hour. So here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. All right. So 4 hour targets. Next one should be 45 and the following should be 54. Right. So long as it does close, it's got to remain above this 42 zone. If not, and we can expect it to kind of come back down to here or maybe even a lower low. Right, we go over lumens. So what do we get here? You know, might look like a FOMO entry, but it's really not, because based on, you know, 27% off, right, on this quote unquote too late to enter trade, but it's really not. It's above the two targets. So let's go like to a 360 chart. And we're right at our midline, right? We are right at this midline. So a continued close above the midline should send it up to our next target, which is 10.62. And then if it does pull back, right, this could be a good pullback entry at 659 for somebody that missed this initial wave to come back in and take a long. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set an alert here because you're not signal lumens on this entry. Price 653, 661 crossing. 661 every time. Web app pop up, send email, more actions, play sound. Awesome. All right, so looking at ETHUSD, all right, it gave me my target 2 on Ether. I signaled an Ether long at like 180 in the 180 range. Based on the inverse head and shoulders, it did give us our T2, which was above the head and shoulders target. It gave us our T3, so we hit T3. I'm in a hedge right now, so I'm long from here and I'm short from here, and I'm just gonna let this play out, because if we do get a continuation, we break above that 219 area, my short's gonna stop out. I'm likely gonna rocket up to 260 based on the 360. Let's go on the 4 hour. What's that? 260, yeah, still 259. All right, so I mean, that would be the next bullish target. Pullback zone is going to be a 202. We might get a range here. If we get a range, I'll probably like start trading perps on Ether. So buy the range low, sell the range high, all with profits from this entry on Deribit. You guys on Facebook are awfully quiet tonight. If you want to show me a token to look at, you can go back to like XBTUSD. And you know, the 4 hour, right, that hasn't given us a whole lot of signals. Once you get into like the 15 and the 30 has been very reliable on BTC, right? Short, long, take profit, long, take profit or add to short, long. So, you know, if we had the short open and remained open and one was just longing, taking profit, longing, taking profit. You don't need two accounts, right? You can just do one on, this is like a September future and this is on perpetual or December future. You would have done fairly well doing this, especially like on Darebit, because you can trade with your ROE. So using an ROE, long here, close that there. Let this short ROE grow once again, long with it, get out there, let this ROE grow again, long here. Maybe take profit closing below this red zone. Yeah, it's been pretty good, very reliable. Same thing with these short entries, right? That would have been a pretty good short on the 5 to pick up a 30-minute long, right? And that's one thing I've been preaching is short the swing, short these sell signals so you can long on Darebit without a stop loss. Because you can't, it's impossible to get liquidated once you have an equal size long short. Once again, covering our Phantom script, right? If you guys want access to it, you just type in a backslash, type in Phantom. There's two of them, right? We got our Phantom. They're both locked up. There's actually 3. This one's going to be taken off shortly. But this is going to be Phantom for all charts. This is just for BTC. And we got them locked up, right? It's a subscription only script, but that's because it's a very reliable script. And it works on so many assets. And typically when I like start with an hourly and try to find the signal, so if there's no signal on the hourly, well, let's go into like the 30-minute. If it's doing this, well, hey, we've got a sell-off coming. You know, this is where you're going to be buying these sell-offs, right? Where people are shorting the bear trap. You're going to be buying bear traps and shorting bull traps instead of buying the breakout, right? And getting wrecked. So it's kind of a counter trend. It's a counter trend indicator. It's a counter trend strategy, and it works really well in chop. Let's look at gold and silver. You know you're a crypto trader when you try to put BTC after typing in gold. Let's start with the hourly chart. Okay, too much chop, too much noise. 4 hour is currently above. But coming down here, right, we'd get these accumulation longs, This is when we were eyeing, what is this? This is May, right? May 16th is when I published on gold, right? So, I mean, all these buys would have been valid for this big breakout. And on the 4 hour, it still hasn't given us a sell signal. So let's go to the 120. And there's a head short here, right? And then closing above rejection zone. A little bit of chop. So one can filter that on a smaller time frame. And let's kind of go into that. So that chop, right? The sell resulted in a chop, which gave a buy signal on the hourly. And here we're getting closes above and below. So I mean, one can really hedge this because we're getting into that volatility zone. Once price gets above it, then we're pretty much in breakout mode, and this long is safe until we get here, right? Once you get a little support. And gold's getting really volatile right now because of everybody in it, everybody in this trade, and market makers want to shake everybody out, right? So this is going to come in handy. So on the 30, we're getting a buy. I would wait for a close above, and then pretty much take a long, maybe buy. So let's go to like GLD, which would be what I would trade. And look at these buy signals on the 30, right? So 140. So what my next move would be like to buy gold calls at 142. So this would pretty much prop this up in the 142 zone, take profit on that options play, and wait out the next signal, whether it's a long or a short, and play it accordingly. Mark, I did cover the signals and how to read them. So if you wanted to, you can actually just rewind the stream. I think we have enabled DVR. And one wants to definitely start with like the larger time frames, the 240, and then try to filter out the noise based on what the chart is doing. All right, so here we get really strong sell signals. This short would have gotten stopped out, right? But this long would have been really good. This short would have been really good. Stopped out here, short there. More rejection, right? More close, so like add to short. Maybe take profit here, let it run. This would have been a good long, good short, right? TP here on this upwards break, good short. It's a fairly reliable strategy. All right, yes for silver too, so let's do that. Right away I can pick out, you know, like really good entries and some bad entries, right? So this long would have been stopped out. This long attempt would have been good. This long, it was choppy, right? So we can filter out on a smaller time frame, but it did go up into a sell signal, into another sell signal. This would have gotten stopped out. I really like this script for hedging because if one was to take these long signals and remain short and this long would get stopped out, then it's still going to get heaps of profits riding the short down to the next long signal. Here we got, you know, long, more long, right? Goes up, again, closes above, hedge, gets stopped out. Hedge, profitable, maybe add to hedge, close that long. This long, close over here, write it down. And let's go see what's happening. Whoa, we're getting some after hours selling. And that's a 30-minute chart, right? So short signal, long signal, short signal, long signal. We're getting another long here, so it might just be chopping for another upwards move. It's kind of like Bollinger Bands, right? Once price gets pretty tight, you want to start seeing those bigger moves, especially when the bands get really close together. You want to see some kind of breakout. This is a good zone to hedge. You can access the script support channel on Discord, so we'll never leave you hanging. In the community, everybody's helping out with script support. It's pretty awesome. Give me another asset, guys. Let's have some fun. Christopher Koulos, yes, the script's on TradingView. There's a link to the script in the video description, so if you want to like hop on and use it. There's actually a full-on description. Let me just pull that up. So you get a full description. Our V1 didn't have our midlines, right? So we weren't quite ready to like release it and charge for it. But now we've got our V2 up, and that does have the midlines. And that works great. You get a how to trade the bullish impulses, the weak signals, the strong signals, the bearish impulses, and what makes a signal invalid. And if you want to license it, if you want to hop on and use the script, there's a link here for early bird, and early bird expires tonight. Just because the script is pretty powerful, and we're going to make it a little bit more exclusive. We're going to increase the pricing on it. So if you want to get it on early bird and get all charts for $50, I recommend hopping in. S&P, Roku. All right. So I'm going to look at S&P. We're going to look at ES1 future. It's just more fluid. We can also look at the S&P chart. Is it the hourly chart that gave me a buy signal? The 30-minute? The 15? Yeah. So this is chart candy, guys. Especially like you see these, right when sentiment goes bearish is when you want to pop this chart right in the middle of a sell-off. Like today, if you pop this chart in the middle of the sell-off, you're like, oh, we're getting buy signals, probably gonna get another bounce. You can long from here, right? You can buy calls at like 3K, or this would be 300, and for 301, sell them at 301, and maybe leave it alone and see what it does in the range. This would have been a really clean short at 302. down to these buy signals. Once again, somewhat of a sell-off over here. You take a good long, ride it up, sell signal, short or exit, take profit, long. Maybe take profit on one of these, right? So if you're like playing options on this on a 15-minute, you can do that intraday and take a long on the buy, and then your call would be the next price up, right? So the midline. Let's look at the S&P on the daily. Ooh, it's kind of starting to top off on the daily, right? And here we see really good entries, right? Like 3 long signals at the December bottom. And look at that. Where did you can see these the midlines, right? That's why we added the midlines. This thing's so powerful, guys. It literally is. We call it a market maker tool just because of the entries and the levels we can get at, right, on these pullbacks, right? So this pullback, this rejection would signal along. So would this one, right? And here, I was still net short, right? And didn't hedge till like we got back up here to take my long. But the fact that we're seeing these closes above, right? This should have been traded as a long. Right now we're getting into that next zone once again. It's getting necky. The 4-hour, I think, still has another higher target. It does. And once again, you look at the 4-hour. It's confirming. It confirmed that buy signal there. It didn't give a buy signal in here, right? But it gave us this great short. It gave us a long entry above the breakout zone, which was still valid. Looking over at Roku. I have not looked at this chart. Let's go to 720 maybe. 360. 15. All right. I'm not quite sure about this last pop off, right? But historically, you had some good sell signals, decent long signals, right? Good sell signal, good long signal, some chop, but it's actually trading above, right? It's trading above the rejection zone here, unlike here, right? And unlike this re-entry and this close below, it should have been a short or wait for a long. Accumulate, right? Breakout. Even if one was stopped out here, rejection. This is probably like a stop hunt, kind of like what we see on BTC. But it's still short signals, right? So short, maybe TP here or TP here, especially if you're trading like traditional assets, when you're going to be able to get like squeezed out, right? Or you have a certain amount of days to cover. You want to take profit at these levels, right? Or if you're going to play puts, if you sell a $100 put, you definitely want to cash that in at $100. You want to profit take when you're in the money. You take this short, and then the fact that it's kind of getting some friction here. Once again, $103, $100 range. Yeah, take profit on these puts like fairly soon, and something like Roku, just because it's not. Once again, I'm not familiar with this chart. I haven't traded Roku. But you get a bad long, a really good long, right? This was a wedge. And once again, the fact that it's just given that green triangle, but we're not, with the midlines being so close, right? One would maybe want to wait out till the midline distance is further. Because if you're long here and rejected there, well, hey, that's a profit take on that long, right? This area, a lot of trading below, so that would invalidate the signal, right? In the description it says if you're getting a lot of closes below the short signal or the long signal.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection.
Right? So if you're getting a lot of closes below, then it's not really a strong long signal, right? And even like here on this breakout, it still gave us a long on this gap up. And that would have been a good long. decent profit take, maybe like remain long. Fairly good short here, right? You see all these rejections, right? So rejection, 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 rejection. Once again, patience. Patience is key in markets. And once you look at this, the script, and you look at it over a period of time, right? And you see how like you're getting several rejection hits. You might want to wait the second one. Once you see like quite a bit of price action trading there, then maybe go ahead and short here. TP, another rejection, short here. Treat it like a trading range. Sell resistance and buy support. All right, looking at AMD. Start further out, 720 maybe. All right, so looking at a chart like this, I'm not sure what's going on fundamentally with AMD, right? What would cause a rally or a sell-off? I'm seeing a little bit of a diamond top, right? And this is going to let us know where there's quite a bit of liquidity. I wouldn't even call it a diamond top, but it's in a no trade zone, right? It's 720 is in a no trade zone. What's the 240 saying? 240 is saying this would probably be a good place to take a short, right? Because you're getting rejection below. So next time it gets up to like 30.95, maybe take a short at 30.95, and then maybe at 31.60 for a move down, just because it's closing below. But if it does close above, 31.56, we could see a little bit of a rally. You could see it come up and knock out that 36.03 with 120. Once again, right, it's getting choppy, but it's below. So the fact that it's below the midline and it's not getting close above the midline means it's likely going to come down for a liquidity grab to knock out like 25.33, $25 zone before it can actually go up and go to 36. Right here, you can actually see how like they do this fake out, another fake out, and then a big rally. So people say crypto's manipulated. This looks just as bad. But once again, you know, if somebody's watching this and they see this breakout, a sell signal, and then a breakout comes down, going to close above, this would have been a good long, right? Once again here, even though there is a sell signal, but it's closing above the midline, right? This would have been a pretty good long as well. Yeah, I'd say it's a clear short. But I wouldn't short down here, right? I would wait. I'd be patient, and I would wait it out. This is what's great about this script. It's actually forward thinking. You don't need a FOMO into this trade, right? You would literally just wait in the zone for it to fill your short, and you just walk away. Or if it closes above, then maybe flip long and ride it up. Yes. BTC. Yeah, let's go to the 4 hour. All right, 4 hour gave two buy signals, another buy signal here on this pullback. That's what I was saying, these pullbacks, like we can see Ether do something very similar. I'll go ahead and pull up ETHUSD next to it. Same thing with Ripple, Coinbase. Maybe 240. $120, 240. Was it the 360 that gave us the midline? Yeah. Right. So we could see, you know, a little bit of a range develop here. This would be like buying the pullback. Same thing as buying the pullback on EOS, right, for a continuation. Once again, rejection is closing above. So this looks promising. I'm not getting a sell signal on the 4-hour, so let's look at like the 15. Let's chop that in half. Let's go to the 2-hour. Still no sell signal. The hourly, no sell signal. The 15. All right, so you got a short signal. Kind of gets stopped out or chopped out, and now it's starting to get more rejection below. But here you can see like when we get like these rejections above the midlines, that's going to be a good place to maybe take a long. Somebody wanted to like swing, do a short-term swing trade. This is a 15-minute chart, so if you wanted a long until you got a sell signal, right, that would have been like 2% on margin in 19 hours in a day practically. Like this would have been a gift of an entry, right? Taking this signal 6% in a day in 2 hours if you wanted to just get out there, right? Once again, on the 15, you're getting these really, really good strong buy signals here, or even here when we start getting closing above the actual midlines. Right, so one would have not taken this because it's actually a weak signal. It is below the lower extreme. It's still chop. Once we get up here, right, up in this area, like on this breakout, it's above the mid ranges, and there's pretty good target. That's a pretty good size target. So maybe on this bull flag, one can take an entry and ride it up. Right, it's going to let you know that we're going to close above these midlines. As an example, BAT BTC, I was looking at BAT yesterday. $240. What was that? I was getting up in this midline territory. Right, I was like, man, it's probably gonna reject. I'm not gonna signal it right here. I want to wait and see what happens at the midline. So now if you get a nice little retrace, I'm gonna stretch this out so you guys can see it better. Right, if you get a retrace and it's back in that 182, 1820 range to 1819 range, right? That would be a good place to take a long on this pullback and take it back up for a ride. Christopher, I am not in Canada, my friend. I'm not. I don't know if Robinhood, try First Trade. I use First Trade quite a bit. All right, guys. I think I've covered what I wanted to cover on our indicator, right? And if you guys want the early bird access, right? Yeah, it's just still $50 right now. Right, pretty good entries. Fairly clear, like, hey, you need to get out of BAT at this point, unless you just want to hodl indefinitely. But it's at $50 till midnight, and then after midnight, we're gonna pretty much change pricing where it's gonna be. You can either get the XBTUSD only version, or you can get all markets. And prices are actually in those links if you want to take a look and see what they'll be at. Right, it's going to be $150 for all markets and $75 for just BTC. You guys in VIP, you get half off those rates. It wasn't that I added it. It was turned off, right? It was like this. And I was like, I know there's a line because I'm seeing the signal. And once you actually open up the Phantom, the gearbox, you got your bottom and your top, and then short signal, long signal. Your inner rejections are the midlines. And you can even like make your midline signals stronger, right? Or like change their colors. You can really play around with them. And treat them however you want, right, to make it more legible for you. Like I like the colors blue and yellow. So if I was to do that on my script right now, right, you can kind of see what's happening. And like this would have been a really good entry. So you can like sit there and anticipate that, hey, there's a midline here for a good entry, right? For a good long. And maybe profit take on this break, right? Or below the swing low. Early bird VIP is 25 for all charts. Yes, you guys are getting the hookup. Instead of, which would be 75 VIP all charts, right? Instead of the 150. But yeah, so you guys are awesome. We wouldn't have built all these strategies if it wasn't for you guys, right? So we're gonna give you guys pretty good deals on them. Anyways, that's all I've got. That's all I've got for tonight. You guys have any more questions? I'll be here to answer them. I'm going once, twice, 3 times. I'll just wait a few minutes before I wrap this up. I feel like that's a wrap. Thank you guys for tuning in. So this next swing low on the 30-minute could bring us down to 10K, right? A reflexive 10K of volume fights back, then this is probably one of these dips, kind of like what we saw here, right? Everybody turned bearish. Everybody turned bearish because we broke a trend line when we actually longed this for a 1,600% move up. You get another good long entry. Look at this knife catch, right, at 93 up till this break at 11.7. Fake out here. Look at this beautiful short entry. Remain short, go long. So there's so many ways to trade this, guys. It's really exciting for us to launch and to kind of bring it to everybody, so you can use it. And being a good script, we have to make it exclusive. So VIPs, you guys get a discount. You're welcome. You're welcome, Dave. Thanks for being on board. All of you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you all in Discord. If you have any questions, there's a script support tab in Discord. Make sure you click on that. And we'll see you there. Thank you.